Huh.
And I think that's all the social work stuff that I have.
Yeah, you probably don't have as many as you get later into the year. It's like,
All my stuff y'all do.
yeah, okay. All right, so I have a little group game, but if we're all virtual, I'm finding out more people are virtual. We'll have to do it next week.
Right.
Thursdays are such a long day. Do you have a lot of classes on Thursdays?
9:30 in this one.
That's not too bad. So you're not done tomorrow. Do you have classes on Fridays?
No, I don't.
Okay. That is fair. Oh gosh, I am hurting bad. Well, I'm gonna put up a sign-up sheet for you guys soon for like leading a group. I forget if I probably have to hit play for this. Display settings. So today is ethical, legal, and multicultural issues. And why do I not know how to hit play on this thing? Oh well. So this is a group about nonviolent communication. And we did it last year. Actually, we did it right before the pandemic. It was fun. But sometimes it helps when you're like leading a group to have stuff that like tells you what to do or a game to play or something. This one gives you like several options. It's basically a deck of cards, and one of them is feelings, and the other one is unmet needs. Let's see here. Okay, so yeah, those are feelings, and then these must be the unmet needs because it's like to have your intentions seen, or I hope they're not mixed up. Oh, a need for privacy. Actually, that's a big one nowadays because I feel like we don't get privacy anywhere anymore. So, and then for people online, I'll probably put up the link or looking up Grok. It's called Grok. It's maybe I should read it here. So they're supporting people around the world to better understand each other, to connect more easily, to speak more honestly, to listen compassionately, will foster goodwill for individuals, couples, families, and business groups. They even have an app apparently. Actually, I've been meaning to look that up. Do you have an iPhone?
Yeah.
They have an app, and it's kind of it was helpful for when like I was annoyed or frustrated with things. And I think it literally is under GROK. I hope it still works. GROK. No, it might be iGrok. IGROK. Hello. How are you? Yeah, they still have the app. So, how's it going? Yeah. How's all the classes? You like them online or do you like them
This
better?
is very easy. When I make my next schedule, you know how to make it like this.
I can't guarantee anything will be that easy because then they'll have you guys in graduate school fast.
Ain't that the goal?
Yeah, it is. Okay. So yeah, the Grok one, I basically have like a group that I would run, and I was describing it. These are basically materials that support people to better understand each other, to connect more easily, to speak more honestly, and to listen compassionately, and to foster goodwill. they have a app, but it's called iGrok. So you have to spell it IGROK. And I don't know if it's only for the iPhone or what, but yeah. So yeah, it's like when you're annoyed with a situation, it gives you, are you feeling blank? And you can pick from all the feelings, and then are you needing blank?
Like a diary.
It's yes, but it's also like with using nonviolent communication. Um, I can tell it's not a amazing app, but it's based on nonviolent communication developed by Marshall Rosenberg and Stranger in a Strange Land. The world grok is Martian and literally means to drink. I didn't know that. But metaphorically means to take it all in, to understand fully, or to be at one with. So, when you're leading these mental health groups, a lot of times you are getting at people's unmet needs, trying to figure out how to meet their unmet needs. Maybe it's as simple as getting them off probation, like when we run the addiction groups, that's what it might be. Sometimes it's as challenging as like helping a family overcome overdose death or an addictions death. Like it can be real heavy. So I at least want to. Oh shoot! I got my old phone too. You ever have your old phone and your new phone, or does it usually not make it to? I can't get some of the stuff to transfer over to this. This one's smaller. I've never bought a smaller phone. I usually have gone like 16 to 32 to 64. I think this is 128, but now I'm back to 64. Doesn't work. The big ones are expensive. So anyway, if we were to do the game, and you can do it with as few people as we have. This was my group when I was first showing you guys how to lead a group. It was literally the day before the pandemic. Didn't you guys go on spring break and then they're like, all right, don't come back. So we all did it. I think it was helpful because we were all feeling like nervous or feeling even annoyed because you're trying to communicate with people at Central State and nobody writes back to you. You ever have that happen?
Oh, yeah.
Only once, right?
Every semester?
Yes. Teachers too? Really?
Teachers are good.
Teachers are better?
No.
Or they're worse? Better? I'm
the same.
I'm not here to like, I'm seeking understanding because I agree. I've heard sometimes teachers don't respond to anything sometimes. But damn, so there's actually 16 groups you can lead out of this. Some of them though, like this one needs a role play and it needs 2 people or as many as 25 people. Same with whatever your top need is. I kind of like the top need. Celebrating a met need, name that need. So player draws a need card and is the only one to see it. He, she describes, it's almost like charades. What she can think about using the word, group members discuss the need. Description can sound like, I get this need met by blank, or I met this need when I blank. So sometimes it helps to have a vehicle when you're leading the group. Like it feels like it's cheating, but it's not really cheating. It's just like you're not reinventing the wheel. Same with Girls Circle. If you pull a chapter out of Girls Circle, it tells you what to do and exactly how to do it. You don't have to just like improv. Where did you guys want your internships again? I totally forgot.
And
I know it probably won't be till next year, right?
At school.
Right, yeah. Is there one around here that does them? I would imagine that there are. Yeah. So now that you say that, there is a dude who has interns in every single school all over the state of Ohio. And when you're an MSW intern, he pays you because he has you get what's called your social work trainee license. It's a SWT. He pays you because he gets paid by having an intern, and you bill Medicaid. I think he pays a good amount as an intern, like thousands of dollars for your internship, and you get like two. Were you guys even planning on going to graduate school? Okay. So, but locally here or in Ohio or
Wherever I want to use my name.
whoever gives you the most money, that's how I did it. I mean, for real, like otherwise you can't pay for it. Oh dear. So he is in Cleveland, Cincinnati, Columbus. You would basically have two internships as a MSW student. And because a social work trainee license, you're billing as if you are a graduate, like a MSW graduate, and like you'll have a supervisor. I guess what I'm getting at is he may also take interns, undergraduate interns. Or like you would be an intern to his interns. You know what I mean? If he has anybody up here already. That is freaking loud. All right. Is any of that sensible?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, his name is Dr. Dave Turner, and he works for the Counseling Source. They're based out of Cincinnati. What city did you come from? Pittsburgh. Okay. Which, that's pretty close to the Ohio border too, isn't it? Because I have a school that I was teaching at in my graduate program. Yeah. You ever heard of it before? So what's up with that city?
I don't know. I don't know what that is.
Is it like Podunk, West Virginia, summer teeth? People have summer teeth, some are here, some are there, or is it like a big town and like?
It's West Virginia.
Is it really? Okay. Kind of like the movie Deliverance. You ever seen that before? Okay. Yeah, but it's only like a half an hour outside of Pittsburgh.
Mm-hmm.
So it's that dang close to Pittsburgh. Huh. Is it almost like a suburb of Pittsburgh?
No.
Okay.
Too far.
So yeah, because we have like Mason, Ohio, and Cincinnati, and it's about, it's 25 miles, but with traffic, I feel like Steubenville was supposed to be 35 or 45. So anyway, I want to see which one is very simple for you guys. Because maybe we could even do it like our unmet needs and feelings during the pandemic. This one's like funny though. Translating hard to hear messages. Player chooses a hard to hear message listed below, or makes up his or her own and shares it to the group. Here's a message that is hard for me to hear, blank. And they give you examples. You're too loud. You're too sensitive. You always do things your way. You never listen to me. You guys ever hear these before? You never help out around the house. I don't know how to blank. You always blank. You never blank. It's so weird that it does that. You're just like my mother or father. You're just like my father or mother. You should act your age. I've gotten that one before. That would be old though, like 43. You should get a real job. Actually, I feel like some people say that about teachers too. You'll never amount to anything. You think money grows on trees. You expect too much. You'll always be disappointed. You're wasting your time. So those are the message examples. When you hear someone say that, are you feeling blank and are you wanting? So it's asking for your unmet need and your feeling. And then player responds to each guess. Like, yes, I'm feeling very angry, or I want or need respect and consideration, or no, I'm feeling hurt and I'm feeling resentful. Charades looks fun, but you guys ever played charades? You have to act out the feeling and the need. For some reason, I'm not in the acting mood. Like, I kind of want to just get stuff done for you guys and get our PowerPoint jacked out. So, games using needs cards only. No, I don't want that. Games using feeling cards only. Okay. Oh, that looks like a fun. There's one called the anger game. So anyway, here is your stack. I don't know if we have to shuffle them. I'm going to go ahead and show you. Like if we had a bigger group, it would be a little bit more meaningful, but maybe take like 5 each. You can shuffle them. I don't want to shuffle them, but it probably doesn't matter right now. What's that? Yeah, we'll each get like 5 cards, and then we could also do the anger game. Player thinks of a specific situation when he or she felt angry, or still does. How about registering for classes? Player says, when I feel angry, I'm telling myself that you or someone else should or should not blank. This can be anything like shouldn't yell at me, or should have voted for another candidate. Needs cards are divided in the group. Group members turn in and guess. Are you feeling angry? That's probably a better way to do it, huh?
Say 5 of each.
Yes. It does say selects 5 or 6 of his or her own feelings cards from the deck. Player lays down the feelings cards as he or she briefly describes the situation. So this is probably the one that we'll do. This looks like the easiest with. Oh shit! This is for 5 people there. Hey, you guys online. Hey, you guys.
That's where everybody else at?
Yeah, I found out somewhere like in DC and then somewhere like in Minnesota. I don't know when and then some are Russia, but they're here. Have you guys met the Russian students?
Yeah. I got one person from Morocco.
Really?
From Morocco.
Really? Okay. So anyway, let's this one. So would you rather play the guilt game or the anger game or the blame and accusation game?
Guilt.
Which one?
Guilt.
Guilt. That's good, as that's the shortest one to read. All right. Player thinks of a specific situation in which he or she felt guilty or still does. Player says, when I feel guilty, I'm telling myself that I shouldn't or should blank. Needs cards are divided among the group. Group members guess in turn. Are you feeling guilty, hurt, scared, disappointed, sad, frustrated, annoyed? And are you needing or wanting this? When you've gone around the circle 2 or 3 times, player tells the group members which needs most connect with his or her situation. It doesn't say how many cards. But it does say place needs card in front of player, and then you have gone around 2 or 3 times. Anybody want to go?
So how you do it?
So thinks of a specific situation which you felt guilty or still does, and you say, when I feel guilty, I'm telling myself that I should or shouldn't blank. Needs cards are divided among the group. So I guess we have to take some needs cards, like you and I, maybe the ones that you already have. I forget which colors needs. Let's see. Oh yeah. So if you know of one where you felt guilty, and then we place them in front of you and just ask. Which I know this is hard to grasp, but not impossible. I value you guys, and I know you'll get it. I promise. Did mask ever fall apart for you? So how do you feel about sharing one of those?
Just sharing a moment, I feel guilty.
Unless if you wanted to do the anger game instead.
I guess when I make somebody upset. Because I don't like to feel guilty.
Okay.
So yeah, probably when I make somebody angry, when I make somebody angry.
Okay. Dang, a lot of these seem like they would fit it too. So the needs, can you tell the difference between a need and a feeling? Sometimes it can be tricky. I'm pretty sure the needs are red and the feelings are yellow if I'm.
So it's The next step is.
Now we have to try to guess. It says we have to look at our needs cards and say, we guess in turn, are you feeling guilty or hurt or scared or disappointed or oh, those are feelings. Damn it. And then we go into the needs ones. Which it's funny, it's like the first one I picked up every time. Like I feel like maybe your need for connection.
Oh, I get it.
I surely don't.
I know it is hard, but I know you two are the smarter ones we got around here. That's why. Did you make it till your junior year? See,
I'm still a freshman.
a lot of us drop out of college before the miracle happens. That's what I say. So. Yeah, so I would say like your feeling of connection is maybe trying to be met, and they say lame in front of you since it's COVID. Like you're trying to connect with the person, but like you said, your filter isn't off. So hell, see a lot of these kind of come through. Maybe your need for participation, or wait, is that? All right. But like you're, and all right, that's fine. You can say no, that's not it at all. Or meaning and purpose, like you're making meaning of the situation, or some maybe.
It's a mixture of them two. Anticipation, no, I don't know about that.
Even acknowledgement or love. You want somebody to acknowledge you, or maybe.
As of me, no. I'm thinking you're talking about us first.
Okay. No, yeah, this one does use all I statements, which is tricky.
Okay.
And then learning how to communicate them with each other. Do you have any that you think it is for him?
Nope.
I'll give you a card. I bet you would tweet them up and be like, oh, maybe it is your need for freedom because you want to speak your mind freely, but people tell you to have a filter. Like, turn on your filter.
So be seen. That one.
To be seen. Yeah, I say a little bit, not really.
It is nice to be seen.
Not really.
The older you get, the less you want to be seen.
Yeah. I don't know.
Okay, that's fine. It does. Yeah, we're trying
to be seen, but like, let's say something that I have a response to. I'm gonna say what
Mm-hmm.
Honesty.
There you go. I like that one.
Oh, there you go. Yeah. Is that a feeling or a need? I guess. Yeah.
It's
I
a
can.
feeling.
I guess. Yeah. Okay. My feeling of honesty is met. All right. I bet it's trickier on this one though. We have to try to find what your unmet need was. And I always said the very first. Well, did I have ladies in front of you already? I'm gonna keep these separate. I'll freaking mix them up before. But like maybe to have your intention seen, because that's the honest
Oh, yeah,
order.
true. I like that.
And these are, God, I keep on. Oh. Are these mixed up? I'm gonna be pissed if they are. All right. Do you have any? Here's the other thing. If you didn't find any from there, but it's just learning how to dialogue. Like, why do we behave the way that we do? And like, yeah, the guilty thing. Why am I feeling guilty? We'll get better at it next time. We'll crush through this PowerPoint, which I think I figured out the problem. You see any unmet, met or unmet needs, like your need for inclusion or your need for, now I don't have them in front of me, so I don't even know. Okay. So yeah, sometimes the games can be exciting, and sometimes people are like, "What's that?"
Let's say wait, no. It's saying
Here's some other ideas.
to have in between. That's the end of them.
So is it clear as mud or making any sense? Or are you guys like, what in the? Okay. Okay. It's okay if it doesn't, because it even took me a minute to start getting this. And then we started playing in the groups game and having honest communication. Like, what do we want to do with our life? And what do we want to do with life in general? Did you find any other one that works for you?
I was gonna say.
Okay, that's fine.
So with the presentation, we just picking the date out of the week.
Correct.
Okay. You know, I have this done by Friday or tomorrow.
Did I put up? I was just going to have a discussion. You pick either October or November, and the tricky part is this class was always in person, and like literally the pandemic has made it different. So folks have gone ahead and with the girls circle material, they have led the group that they wanted to lead. I feel like it's easier when you have people to try and participate. Even if, we could try like a live session if somebody was like writing back, but at a school you'll have a lot of opportunities to lead groups with kids. And it might be like you're coming in during your study hall. Were you thinking a grade school or a high school?
High school.
Okay. Yeah, so you could even in high school level, you could have an addictions group if there's people that are in trouble, or relationships, or a girls circle. I guess at a high school you could have a girls circle.
Too many bad little kids.
What's that?
Too many bad little kids who think they grown.
Right. Well, and you got to deal with the parents then too. So, yeah. So that's kind of the deal with those. I want to make sure that I have. What class does that guy teach? He's over there.
I've just seen it on that class.
Yes, I feel like you guys had him for something. All right, so when you do lead groups, and we're gonna promise to have you guys question on this. We'll try this again next week because I know it takes a minute to understand what is my feeling and what is my need. But that's like the gist of MVC. And in counseling in general. So like, what is your unmet need? What is your feeling? The cool part about unmet needs is that most of us have the same ones, and they start with the basics. My need for food is I'm hungry, need for water and drinking because I'm dehydrated, shelter, and then you might have a feeling going along with that. And then you have the more complicated needs that are like, oh yeah, these are all feelings. I guess feelings are one word, and then needs are, power in your world, dependability, ease and comfort. And it helps you to learn how to communicate with one another. And it's weird though, because like I grew up with like the same similar slang that you know, like we all have our different slang that we grew up with, and like being able to narrow it down to like these things means that I'm cutting out the slang terms. You don't have to, but it's just like trying to understand one another in a way that's not using my Purcell Marion high school slang that we grew up with. It's like not everybody gets that. So we're in that way, I understand you, you understand me, etc. Oh, really? Nope. I was a Purcell Marion graduate. Is Walnut kind of like the preppy kid type of fancy high school for rich? I feel like it's
It's the fancy school for public school.
right.
I'll say that.
But Purcell is more like the public school of the private schools,
Right.
if that makes sense.
They both
I mean, it was a good mixture of students. We had every religion, race, creed, faith, and like everybody. Purcell was very mixed, and I loved that about it because I don't think that the grade school that I went to was. So Purcell, and then like being able to live in Nicaragua helped me get a better view of the world in the sense that got me to this level. Because you guys, are you both 20 then? Did you turn 20 or 21? Your junior year, did you turn 20 or 21? 22? Okay, 22. Okay. So yeah, it's and when you do your internship and they make you lead a group at that age, like I was 26 when I started in social work, I had to lead a homeless man group that all these dudes were 50 and 60. It was intimidating. You know what I mean? They're like, here, go ahead, lead this group. And it was like on alcoholism and addiction. I was like, dude, all right, here we go. Because they're like, what do you know about this little boy? They're just like, but they were fine. Like I did good. And you don't have to, when you do counseling with families and groups, like sometimes you feel like age has a ton to do with it, which it does, but it's not the only thing. Like your training and your expertise as a social worker is just as important. Where are we at? Okay. So with leading groups, you'll have legal and multicultural things going on. I want to show you the legal and multicultural things. So usually laws over here, ethics are over there, but there's an area where they overlap, and we want to make sure that you guys know that and see that. One specific example, well, I'm going to start with ethics. So like we have our NASW Code of Ethics. You guys both had Social Work 101. We always refer to the Code of Ethics. You have suggested standards of conduct. They're based on our professional values, and there's the list of them. So we have autonomy, beneficence, I can never pronounce these, non-malfeasance, extra credit for if any of you remember what either one of those means, justice, fidelity, and veracity. From what I remember, beneficence means you do good, the best you can do for your client. You do good, and non-malfeasance means do no harm. So they'll ask you that on the freaking licensure exam, unfortunately. So the Code of Ethics, they're created by organizations to set standards and principles for the members to follow best practices. So here's a lot of major ethical issues, like training of group leaders. A lot of agencies get themselves in trouble because they don't train their group leaders. Like they'll just like throw you in and they'll be like, all right, now go lead that group. That's kind of how it felt like when I had to lead the homeless men's group on addictions and alcoholism. Another one is like screening of potential members. That could be ethical because you might be like, I don't want that person in my group, and it's not for a very good reason. It's just because you don't like the person. So that's where it becomes a question of ethics. Your rights of group members, so especially confidentiality and all the things you see in the code. Especially, so ethics comes in here. This is also legal. So this is where ethics and legality overlap. Personal and dual relationships. Say you start hanging out with a group member and then all the stuff in the middle and you want to get married to them. We can't do that as a social worker. That is both in our Code of Ethics. It might not be illegal. That's a good question now, but it is definitely in the code. And then use of group techniques can be an ethical thing. The leader's values, that could also be, your ethics might come from a different church that you went to. Records are definitely legal and ethical. So you have to write up whenever you lead a group or whenever you see a client, you keep records. And then closing and following up. That's more ethical than it is legal. But it does have like paperwork that's confidentiality. So that could also be legal. Now, legal issues, the law refers to a body of agreed upon rules of a society that set forth basic principles. I can barely see this. So there is an overlap between legal and ethical. And so if you go back to Pittsburgh, we have Ohio and Pittsburgh, you might have different laws. So that's something to consider. So states, communities, and national, there could be a federal law. Where do you find them? Usually you'll go to like the different states' codes. And then the best thing for legal action is prevention. Like you don't want to run into this stuff, especially the paperwork stuff, because they could call us into court. So in summary, ethics suggests standard of conduct based on a set of professional values like autonomy, beneficence, non-malfeasance, I can never pronounce this, justice, fidelity, and veracity. Anybody know what veracity is? I forget. I'll have to look at the book. We'll look it up for next time. The law is a body of rules recognized by a state or a community as binding on its members, and there's overlap between ethics. So group workers must be familiar with them. So be familiar with your Pennsylvania state code. You would be Ohio. If you guys stay, you might practice in another state to make the decisions you need. There's citations. You love your APA. There it is. Actually, it should say references, shouldn't it? Uh-oh. Multicultural issues. So this is another one that when I led groups at St. Leo's with folks that came from Burundi, Africa, and from Shela, Guatemala, I had to be familiar. Like, every agency will do a multicultural training. Also, when I worked in Claremont Recovery Center, they trained me in the Appalachian way of life. So you just, as a social worker, you want to be familiarized with that stuff. So you want to identify multicultural issues related to group work and then assess your own awareness and understanding. You'll have trainings every year on this stuff, and you can sign up for extra trainings if you want them. So if you guys were to say diversity exists in blank, 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 I'll go back. I think there's a whole list. What would you say diversity exists in? It's okay if you saw the first two, you can name those off. Yes. What was the other one? Yep. Oh, keep on guessing. I know that I have it up there, but I'll take it off again. Act like you guessed it. Right, yeah, we have a bunch of Spanish speakers at St. Leo's. They have asylum status. As social workers, we help them with their asylum status. Also, their culture that they bring. Okay. Gender. So that's one other one. There is still more if you can think of it. Think of the haves and the have-nots. What'd you say?
Social status?
Right, yeah, you're both kind of, so they call it socioeconomic status, but like same idea, like the rich and the poor, if you were to break it down into common terms, like diversity, sexual orientation, religion, and then ableism, which is interesting. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of ableism before. We did that in Social Work 101. Ableism is basically if you're handicapped. So they have used positive language nowadays. Instead, they don't want to say that you're missing something. It's more like your ability to walk is better than somebody in the wheelchair. And so that's ableism. So working effectively with diverse populations, you want to define and acknowledge their culture. You may look up different theories and techniques and then also develop those as you work with them. So here's how we define culture and acknowledge their culture. So culture is the values, beliefs, and behaviors shared by a group of people, broadly defined. Culture takes into consideration demographic variables, age, gender, and status variables like socioeducational and economic, and then affiliations. Diversity competent group counselors are able to explore the impact of cultural factors on all of their clients in all aspects of their lives. They are diversity competent in the areas of beliefs, attitudes, knowledge, and skills. So when I did lead a group, when we were like working with folks from Burundi, Africa, we had to be respectful that they had been through a civil war. I use this as an example a lot because I really did have to understand Their culture also is not big on counseling in general. They're not like wanting to go see a social worker or wanting to go see a counselor. So you're accepting of that resistance. You're not going to force social work and counseling onto them, but you still want to try to work with them as well as you can, if that makes sense. Like, similarly, men are less accepting of counseling and working with a social worker in general than women are. Like the research shows that. So keeping that in mind to be competent, with your diversity, running a men's group would be a lot different than running a women's group. So keeping that in mind. So some surface dimensions of culture, there's music and food. They actually had pretty awesome food at like one of the Thanksgiving banquets at St. Leo's because they made stuff from Burundi. There's also deeper dimensions like faith, religion, and values, language and family structure. And then the visible stuff often is usually race or gender. Invisible stuff is ethnicity, sexual orientation, or your social class. Although some of us try to wear our social class, like nicer clothes or nicer car, but that's the stuff that can often be invisible. In addictions, you can have people that are extremely rich and extremely poor. And if they're all sitting in the group together, you can't always tell. Some of the things that stand out, though, is if they have more prison tattoos or less teeth or something of that nature. Sometimes you wonder the difference of like that situation. I don't think this is going to work for us today. You ready? Oop. No. Let's see. If I can click on it. How do you click on crap? Do you have to press like control? Shoot. It's okay if it doesn't work. It'll be like, oh, of course, it's from when I taught the class at UC. It's not going to log us in, and that's okay. So I'm going to hit play again. So when you're working effectively with diverse populations, you want to define and acknowledge their culture. It helps when your agency gives you trainings on the Appalachian training was extremely helpful for me. Also myth busting. So discussing differences. There may be homogeny in groups, but all of us are unique and different, even if we come from the same background. Then the role and differences in tasks and psychoeducational groups, and then considering theory and culture. So if you did a perfectly multicultural group, you want to make sure to be very open-minded in your recruitment and screening, like not just because I don't think they'll be a good fit for the group, like open to whoever was going to be in the group, the way you plan the group, trying to be open to everybody there. With your leadership, you want to have self-awareness and increasing awareness and ability. So consulting with them, immersion, checking in. There might even be language training if you're teaching an ESL group, English as a second language. Some other aspects of culture, like substance use is a part of culture, because sometimes it is normal in like some different. I grew up German, Irish, and Catholic, and you drink at every single thing and event that there is. So like at weddings, at funerals, at festivals, whereas if you went to other churches, I think they don't let you drink at some churches. They'll be like, dude, you can't touch that stuff. Like, get away. So that's like one culture thing with Catholics that is different. Also your setting and maybe the set and some practical stuff. So therapy groups might involve clashes of culture or subculture, and that can be challenging. The interpersonal learning, though, like as you get through the group, is a process through which group members learn to accept that not everyone in the group holds the same set of assumptions, beliefs, customs, rules, norms, and habits. We do that in school here too, or maybe you guys had to have it in grade school, but like starting to see that we have a very diverse world and, being open to that. It's that unconditional positive regard for the people that you work with. Like we see them in the best light that we can and stay non-judgmental. Therapists also must prepare for their work by enhancing their own awareness of possible dynamics associated with culture and develop a sensitivity to address them. So you'll examine your own culture and background. Things that they say are assumptions, even your own beliefs, customs, rules. Like when I consider myself as a Cincinnati Midwesterner, Catholic, Irish, and not everybody's that way. You know what I mean? Like I just have to know that I came from a different upbringing, and other people have their own different upbringing and rules and norms, and then habits. And that after I do. That could be journaling. You mentioned journaling at the beginning of class, but just like knowing that we're not all the same. We do have all the same unmet needs, basic needs with food, water, shelter, full belly, and warm house at the end of the night. But we don't have all the same background, like the upbringing. So, kind of getting, that was good time. And where are we at? How are we doing on time? So the summary: culture encompasses values and beliefs and behaviors shared by a group of people, broadly defined. It's dark. Culture takes into consideration demographic variables, so your age, your gender, and your residence. Also status variables, social, educational, and economic. And then your affiliations, either formal and informal. Dimensions of culture include surface and deeper dimensions, as well as visible and invisible dimensions. Like if you're rich or poor, and then if sometimes someone's religion by like the way that they dress. So that's like a clear giveaway. That's one of the visible ones. And then invisible could be poverty or affluence, I guess is the word I'm looking for. And then ultimately, self-awareness is a necessary step in the process of developing a multicultural competence. And we're always, always training on this. So like keeping up on it and being able to understand better what's going on. Was that too fast for you guys? Or are you sure? I still like to keep half of it online and half of it in person, but I want to make sure to give you all the materials you'll need for your licensure exam, which would be next year in January. If you're juniors, you can take it your senior year.
What is it?
Your licensure exam to get a social work license. Senior year, final semester. And if you want like practice questions, email me and I'll send you a bunch of questions and answers with explanations if you want
Crazy.
to. What's crazy about it? The licensure exam? It's scary, but you'll study and you'll do well. And if you need to take another time, it's really okay. That's why it's good to take it in January, because if you like graduate in April and want to get a job, you can take it again. They make you just wait a few months, then you can take it again. So, or you go right into graduate school and then you take it while you're in graduate school. But the pay difference is good with a license. I went from like $24,000 a year without a license. I never wanted to take that licensure exam. And some dude's like, if you take it right now, we have a job starting at $35,000. So it was like a 35% increase in pay. And I was like, I'll take it. So, and all you need is a 70. I think I got a 71. And I'm not ashamed to say it. You don't have to be perfect. Right? You don't have to be perfect. You just got to study enough. But that's all I have. Do you guys have any questions?